What's up, defenders, especially our guys there in the back half, the secondary, all of my All Eyes DB Camp fans. Hey, listen, I know you want to be a top defensive back. You want to be all county, all state, all metro, all conference, all American, all pro. You want to be all that. If you want to be that, there are three things I think every all-time great defensive back is going to need. We're going to talk about those things today. Well, certainly there are a lot of ingredients that go into being a solid, great, or good defensive back. We could talk about those, and I could sit here for hours and talk to you about it. But I've noticed these three things that are very, very important for all of the great defensive backs that I've ever been able to observe. And there are three things that have really helped me, both myself personally and in training guys that want to be defensive backs at all levels, whether that's youth, whether that's high school, or whether that's college or pro. So without delay, let's jump into those things. The first thing you're going to need to be is athletic. Now notice, I didn't say world-class speed, all right? Because there have been a bunch of very fast guys that have tried to play this position that haven't been able to do that. There have been guys with really good speed that couldn't handle it. But one thing I have noticed is that you're going to need some athleticism. So while you may not be a blazer, you have some pretty good leaping ability, or you have the ability to really change direction. Chances are when you're in high school, you played several different sports. There are very few times that I have run across a defensive back at the upper levels that football was the only thing that he did growing up or he did in high school. I just really have not run into that guy. So if you're a guy in high school right now and football is it 24/7, or you're a youth football player, or you're the parent of a youth football player, and football is it 24/7, listen, I appreciate that you love football, but I'm telling you, develop your athleticism. And if you're in charge of your young tyke, get him into some other sports, whether that's soccer, it's basketball, it's baseball, whatever. He may not be an all-time great at one of those sports, but you never know. However, he will develop skills that will help him as he grows older and he becomes a defensive back, if that's the position he's going to end up playing. If you're a high schooler and you're playing those other sports and you're enjoying them, stick with it for as long as you can, because defensive backs are the most athletic players on the field typically, all right? So, no offense to the wide receivers out there, but no one's asking you guys to run down there very often and make a tackle on a kickoff. But the athleticism has to be there. That's change of direction, that's leaping ability, and of course being able to run. You do have to have some kind of speed. You can't be just seriously slow out there. So some guys that you may want to call slow because they run a 4.6 40 on the clock, they may have some kind of functional speed. So they're quick. They're really quick from 0 to 10 yards or 0 to 20 yards. And you can be a pretty high functioning defensive back if that is you. All right, that means you're able to change direction and close speed early in a route to get onto a guy and cut guys off and use good angles and things of that nature. So it's not always boiling down to being a 4.3 40 guy. You can be a 4.6 guy, but you have a certain kind of speed that's going to allow you to function out there. So you can't just be completely slow and not quick. All right, so quick and fast, those are all the elements of being athletic. So definitely, you're going to need some athleticism. If you're not athletic, develop that athleticism now, or you're very far away from being athletic, perhaps there's another position that you can play on the field where you will see some more success, because ultimately as you go up and up and up in competition, the fact that you're not athletic is going to come back to bite you. You're going to have to be tremendously good at everything else. So athleticism is a part of this thing. Number two, you're going to have some awareness. Now, this goes for all the positions out on the football field, but especially so in the secondary. And the reason I say that is the secondary is the last line of defense. If you don't have awareness out there and you're routinely out of position or can't find yourself in the proper position, it usually results in points for the opposing team. So you're going to have some awareness. The better and the best players that I've ever observed at the position of defensive back have a certain amount of awareness. So how do you acquire that? Primarily, you acquire that by first experience, as with anything in life. But those guys that have had that awareness typically were guys who enjoyed studying film. You've heard me say this in a lot of videos out there, but you've got to study your opponent. For some of y'all, study is a cuss word. You don't like it in school, you don't like it in your sports, etc., etc. I'm here to tell you, your days are numbered if you're a guy that doesn't like to study. So guys that like to go study the film, study the opposing players, study how defenses work, They just seem to have this innate ability to find themselves around the football. They know what is happening before it ever happens. And those type of guys with that awareness just tend to be around the football. The Tyrann Mathieu of the world, those type of players that just seem to find themselves around the football. Charles Woodson, those type of players with great instincts tend to last, tend to make more plays, tend to affect the outcomes of games, and tend to be very, very valuable assets to their teams when they're out there on the field. Typically, too, guys with tremendous IQs were guys that played some kind of offense growing up in the game, whether that was running back or receiver or especially quarterback. So they have a familiarity with what happens on that side of the ball, and they're able to see things happen a whole lot quicker as they're unfolding in front of them. But by and large, the guys with the great awareness are guys who have that experience and do like to study film and do like to study the game of football. So they totally understand what they're doing on their side of the ball, and they have a pretty good awareness of what's happening as on the offensive side of the ball before the snap and after the ball. While the play is happening, they tend to have a pretty good idea of what's happening, what's about to happen, and they tend to get in position a lot and make a lot of plays. So you're going to have some awareness. And the third skill and the final skill that I think is imperative for guys that want to be elite defensive backs: ball skills, especially in this day and age. There was a time where you could be a safety and you could just go out there and headhunt and knock guys out every week, and you could end the year with 1 or 2 picks. But so long as you were out there intimidating guys and hitting them and having them turn down pass catches and drop balls, you were fine. That's not the case anymore. You just can't go knocking guys' helmets off. So there's even more of a premium placed now on turnovers. So being able to get interceptions, and for you to be able to do that, you gotta have some ball skills. For cornerbacks, being able to get your head around, find the football, track it, not misplay the ball in the air and have it go into the wide receiver's hands, even when you have good coverage. Those are things that you are going to need to work on. So if you don't have really good ball skills, it's time to really start working on that. And a lot of defensive backs, at least young ones, want to focus more or just put all of their focus into footwork, doing work on a ladder and with cones. And that's great. You should have good footwork, but you do have to devote some time to being able to catch, make the catches when they come, track the ball effectively, be able to get both hands on the football, especially when it's thrown right to you. And like I said before, don't misplay the deep balls. Don't stop short when a ball is long. Don't overrun a ball that's clearly short and allow it to fall into the hands of the wide receiver. You've got to spend a good amount of time catching footballs, tracking footballs, so that you're comfortable when that ball is thrown in the air. And for some of you young ones out there, you know what I'm talking about. You turn your head around and you see the ball coming and you panic. That's because you just have not seen enough footballs coming your way. The guys who played receiver and now turn around and play defensive back, they're not the type of guys that are going to get nervous when the ball is coming. It's something that they're used to. But if you have wide receivers out there catching 30, 40, 50 balls during a practice and you're only catching 5 to 10, who has the advantage when the ball is thrown in the air during the game? So you're going to want to match some of that type of work that the receivers are doing with your own work. Whether you're able to get that before practice or after practice, along with what you're doing during practice, you do have to practice your ball skills and do work on catching those deep balls, okay? That ball's in flight for such a long time and it's so far away from you, you have to be able to judge that ball effectively, get yourself into position, and then catch the ball. There are a limited amount of opportunities during a season where a ball is going to be thrown right to you. You don't want to ever drop those. Those tend to haunt you the entire off season. So along with being able to track the ball, actually catch the ball when it's coming to you. I do have some great videos here on, and one in particular, I do have a great video on catching the ball for defensive backs. So go and search through some of my previous videos and you will find that video. Take that one to heart, really follow that and use some of the drills that I have in that video, because it's important for you to convert those opportunities when they come. You don't want to drop interceptions, okay? They're not always plentiful. And if you're playing in a good league and you're playing against good competition, you're not going to get that many opportunities. You have to convert the opportunities when they come. The guys with the high interception numbers throughout history, or even a guy currently right now that's racking up interceptions on a weekly basis, a guy by the name of Xavier Howard, who's trained with me at All Eyes DB Camp, cornerback for the Dolphins. One of the greatest things he does is first track the football, but he catches the football. You rarely ever see him dropping an interception out there, because those opportunities are limited, especially in this day and age where quarterbacks are a lot more savvy. and they tend to not throw interceptions, where you guys have guys like Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and Patrick Mahomes that throw no more than 5 interceptions a season. When you do get an opportunity to get your hands on a ball of a quarterback that doesn't make very many mistakes, you want to make him pay for it. So learn how to track the ball, learn how to catch the ball. And that's going to help you be an elite defensive back that racks up numbers, that becomes all county and all pro and all American and all that great stuff. You got to catch the ball, man. You got to catch the football. So there you have it. If you're going to break down this position to 3 things that are going to make you elite, those are the 3 things. Got to be athletic, so jump, change direction. Got to have some kind of speed. You got to have some awareness, so study film, know what's happening on the offensive side of the ball, know it so that you are able to react rather quickly out there. Understand what it is your defense does. Understand what a lot of defenses do. Spend a little extra time studying defenses so that you know where you belong in your defense while you're observing what the offense is doing. And then finally, ball skills, man. What good is getting into position if you can't catch the football or you allow the other guy to catch it, right? Work on tracking the football. Work on catching those or making the most of those opportunities when they come. So you're going to have to track the football and catch the football. The elite guys out there, the guys with the high interception numbers, the guy with the gold jackets, who have been All-Americans, etc., 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 are able to catch the football. And they're able to do all 3 of those things. Don't believe me? Check them out yourself. How about you guys drop a comment with who you think is tell me who your favorite defensive back is. Not who you think is the best. I might be asking the same question right there with that. But who's your all-time favorite defensive back? Go ahead and drop that for me in the comments. And then I would like you to share this video and also subscribe, because I'm putting out content each and every week, stuff that I know you're going to enjoy, that's going to help you. So be sure to drop a comment there. And if you're not a member of the All Eyes DB Camp members area, I would tell you it's one of the best investments that you can ever make. It allows me to train guys from all over the country, even outside of the country. So I got guys from Germany and Brazil and Europe that are all members in the All Eyes DB Camp members area, because I've got over 100 videos in there talking about technique, drills, and breaking down an analysis of coverages, teaching you about coverages, everything that you're going to need to be an elite defensive back. You can find it at All Eyes DB Camp members area. So I'm going to include a link in the bio. Click on the link. Do yourself a favor. Make that investment. Join the All Eyes DB Camp members area ASAP. That is if you want to be big time. All right. So I appreciate you guys listening. And until next time, All Eyes DB Camp. Consistency breeds results.